This video is sponsored by Loot Crate.
Okay, so I was kind of prejudiced against this book. It's actually pretty good. Hey guys, welcome to my Geek Talk. Today we are going to talk about Chewbacca number 1 through 5, the whole series. Just like we got with Lando and Princess Leia, we now have a Chewbacca series of comics. Now, if you guys remember my first review, I wasn't so fond of this series and what it looked like it was going to be. I was like, if you like Chewbacca, I guess read it. But really, if you like Chewbacca, it's not that great. But I was wrong. It's actually very charming, and it snuck up on me in the sense that I was like, whatever, Chewbacca, like, yeah, whatever. And this new girl, Zaro, she came out of nowhere. Like, Zaro is like, their relationship is like Terminator and John Connor, in the sense that this girl is kind of like a wisecracker, and she's very witty, she's very sharp. And I also like the way that they drew her. Like, she has a very big nose. Like, you don't often see that. America has this distinct look about what is beauty, and I'm very glad that whoever this artist was went out of their way to be like, hey, no, this girl has like a big nose. For me, I don't know, it's probably not a big thing for most people. Some people might not even notice, but for me, it was actually a very huge thing. It's definitely a small thing, but something I appreciated. I really like the artwork of this comic. It has a very washed out style in terms of the color palette. Not in a bad way. Like, it's washed out in this more like this new age style that you'll sometimes see with photographs. Like, you'll see that the saturation will be kind of the wash. It's just washed out, and it was cool. And I like the line work. It's a very thin line work. Like I said before, I like Zaro. I kind of like the villain characters that were in here. There was one little oddball character that we had. It was this guy who was going blind, and he basically made it so that he could see through the eyes of his protocol droid, which is cool. And that's something that you get a lot from the expanded universe of Star Wars. Now, I know that this is no longer considered an expanded universe, it's actually considered canon, but to me, it still is expanded universe. Like, the movies are still the movies of its own thing, but like the TV shows and stuff, that you always get these weird idiosyncrasies about Star Wars and the universe, and I always like stuff like that, and we're still getting that, I feel, with these stories, that these, novels and comics and TV shows, we get this weird stuff, that made Star Wars expanded universe cool, even though sometimes it can get a little bit too crazy. Things like this that we have in the comic is a nice touch. But essentially, the storyline is about these shady people, these criminals, these gangsters who are exploiting the resources of this planet. I forget the name of the planet. It's called Andro something 4, and they're selling off these resources to the Empire. There's this material, these beetles or whatever, that make this ammo for blasters, whatever. There's a MacGuffin to drive the plot, but basically what happens is that this girl meets Chewbacca, like I said in the first review. And the reason Chewbacca wants to help in the first place, and we actually get more insights into Chewbacca's past, his canon past, and that's that he was a slave, and he was a Wookiee slave. And the reason why he wanted to help these people is because they were becoming enslaved and exploited, and that's something that he saw in them and wanted to help with. Something I'm sure he hoped someone else did for him. And, it's cool that we got to see that. We got to see Chewbacca like wrecking. He like wrecked fools in this comic series. There's one part where I really liked it. Zara was just watching, like, it was off panel, like him like tearing people's arms off or whatever he was doing. They don't really show it. And then we just see Zara going, yeah, take that. Yeah. Like, I love that part. Like, that part was really great. And this book is really charming, and it's very well paced. And I like the little comedy that's in it. And it's just like, particularly there's this part at the end of the comic where unless you don't have a soul or a heart, you definitely have like a duh moment, like there was that moment between of course Chewbacca and Zaro, sorry, her name's Zaro. Yeah, it was a good book. I did not expect it to be good. If you want a good time, like if you want just a comic book that will give you a good time between like this unlikely pairing between this young girl and Chewbacca fighting against the Empire and the underworld, I would recommend it, actually. Like, I thought I was never going to recommend this comic. I thought it was going to be like a throwaway thing, but the writers do a really good job with their pacing, and it's really well drawn, and they even go into some pretty deep stuff with the Rebel Alliance and Chewbacca, not just his past as a slave, but they also talk about how this planet wants nothing to do with the rebels, where they want to save their planet, but they don't want to just rebel against the Empire, which I thought was kind of interesting that, not everybody would want to be a part of a straight up, somewhat of a terrorist unit. If you think about it, they blew up the Death Star. They don't want to be associated with that. They just want to have their own independent system in the Outer Rim. But that's it. Thank you guys for coming out to the review. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and may the Force be with you. Always.
What I've seen in a lot of debates is that people, including myself, either lowball Mace or lowball Sidious to achieve their point.
Throw a grenade at him. Alright, now critical strike. Oh, I killed him. Oh no, I didn't mean to throw two. Oh, that's such a waste. Such a waste.